had to ask that question in the title because stupid people keep playing stupid games and finding videos similar to this one with me just talking in the dark and y'all looking at bubbles and they place a false copyright strike. So I got a strike for my own damn video. Anyway, I wasn't planning to do anything. I just went live only to see if I can go live because I can't remember, or I didn't remember whether or not I had to wait a week or whatever to go live. Hello, one person. So I just needed to answer my own question. Is Madam WhipAss live? Yes, I am. So guess what I've been doing? I've been binge watching The Walking Dead. I was at work last weekend, and they were showing it, and I just got into it, and I had to do some research. It started in 2010 and went off in 2022. I vaguely remember hearing about this show, The Walking Dead. So all week long, I've been watching this show on Netflix. Man, my heart starts racing. It's the suspense, especially in the first several episodes. The suspense is so intense that I just can't take it. And it's been so long since I watched a horror movie. I mean, many, many, many years. And so, oh God. Oh Lord. The first several episodes, it was horrible for me, but I couldn't stop watching it because the storylines and the plots are so good. I just hate the zombie parts. So now I'm into, I think like the 5th season, I believe. And yeah, there's still zombie shit going on, but it's not as bad as it was in the beginning. I must be the only one on this planet who's never watched this show. And if by chance one of you 3 people who are in my bushes have never watched the show, please start. Go to Netflix, The Walking Dead. It is so good. And I'm so glad that I didn't know anything. I didn't watch it before the pandemic. I'm so glad the pandemic has been over. Was it 2024? A couple of years or whatever, because I'd have been freaking out. For real, for real. But it's so good. If you have not watched The Walking Dead, Netflix, I can't stop watching it. And I didn't realize it went on for so long, a dozen years. Jesus Christ. But oh God, unless you want some spoilers, you need to type in the chat. If somebody wants some spoilers, want me to tell you some things about it more in detail, I'll be more than willing to, even if it's just one person. But again, Netflix, The Walking Dead. Whoo-wee. That's some kind of fucking movie, let me tell you. It is. And I just got finished watching some more of it, and I had to turn it off because the last episode was like whoa. And that's not the only episode that's like, whoa. But this was like, whoa. Jesus Christ. Can't wait till I get to the end of it because it has consumed me somewhat. Anyway, I don't remember the last time I was on live. Was it last week? The week before? This seems like so long ago. But anyway, so suffice it to say, I have not been keeping up with what's been going on in these YouTube streets. Actually, earlier today, I did watch a little something, something. I was watching Cooling with the Crew, and then I watched VS, and yeah, it's a whole mess over there. I really don't understand what they all doing, but they doing it. I guess they doing what they need to do and saying what they need to say, and it's a mess. Well, all I have to add to it is that I'm just glad, Coolin is out of jail. She's back with her children, trying to resume her life as it was, and that's what these sectors are all about for the most part. You establish friendship with somebody, get all in their business, and sometimes you ain't got to get in their business. They just volunteer their business to you. And then Mad Day comes and you spill it all out in the YouTube streets. Yeah, I don't care for friends like that. How about you? But it's all part of the game. And it's like, why are you telling people this? You must want, I don't know. Do people subconsciously want beef because that translates into coin? Because it's the same story, different script. And this is what these people do. And it's almost like this is what they live to do. Is it what they need to do? I imagine for some people, yes. Because this is a viable source of income for some. Good for them. But I find it lately, just lately, not to be that much entertaining. I've been missing out on some good shit. Like The Walking Dead. I think I'm going to go back to TV. Now, will I get cable back? Hell no. It's not worth the money. Not when you got Fire Stick and Netflix and all that shit. It's just not important. But it feels good to have given YouTube a break. I've been immersed in these YouTube streets and these different sectors since 2000. Well, I got my channel in 2006, but I didn't know shit was going on till like 2007. Because back then I was like, I don't know what sector you can call it, but it was, people exposing these pimp preachers. 2007, 2008. I just would watch different people. And then I think I just backed off. Not that I needed to back off anything, just, I don't know. I just know a couple of years went by, maybe 3 or so. And I went back on YouTube, and that's how I found um, first Tommy Sotomayor. And then he would be beefing with different people. And understand, this is before panels and hangouts and all that. This is when you had to upload videos and be creative and shit like that. And Tommy used to make the best roast uploaded videos. Very entertaining, very funny. And then, I would go to the channel of who he was beefing with. And that's how I came across LA. And I might name some people that you might be like, oh yeah, whatever happened to that person? There was a Happy Cabby. There was Jeannie Burlesque. Yeah, whatever happened to Jeannie Burlesque? And after a while, you came across the Wolf Pack, which was Queen Common Sense. What was her name before that? Afro Queen. Yeah. And who was the rest of the Wolf Pack? I know, but I only remember her first real name. But you remember the Wolf Pack. Yeah, them. And then who else? It was even before the Wolf Pack. So it was LA, it was Jimmy. Who else? Oh, what's that dude? Elijah Wan. Army of Tommy. That nigga. Who else? Who else? It was a whole bunch of people you go back and forth and watch. And then Tyrone Thompson steps on the scene somewhere around 2013. And then they had like blog talk radio shows, and Tyrone Thompson started one that would come on 9 o'clock at night, 7 days a week, and go on to like 6, 7, 8 in the morning every night. And so we would listen to Tyrone Thompson, and that's where the Wolf Pack were supporters of him, and they were doing shows on Tyrone Thompson's network. And oh my God, the memories, the memories, the memories. And on Blog Talk Radio, Tyrone Thompson, oh, what was that guy that had his show with the deep voice that would be talking some wild shit that nobody could understand? His name started with an M. And he had a wife. And his wife, one woman was her name. What was that man's name? Was married to her. But one woman passed, I think like 2015, 2016 or something. And then her husband, that man, I can't remember his name, he passed away a few years ago. And then there was this crazy lady. Remember Angel? I imagine Angel at the time had to be in her 50s. A very sweet lady, but there was something off about her. She talked about how she was abducted by aliens and shit. And she was always talking about aliens. And yeah, that's what she said. She was abducted by aliens a few times. And she had some information. And if you gave her your email address, she'd send it to you. Now, I got a hold of this information she was sending out. And I think Joe Neckbone forwarded it to me. I wish I still had it, because that would make a good show to read this shit she had going on. All I can say, I can't remember details about it. Just suffice it for me to go, doo doo. Because that's the energy and the feeling I got reading that shit. Sweet lady, but batshit crazy. Angel was her name. Who else? So many people. And then entered, All Facts was around. He was buddies with Tyrone Thompson. And then there was Bone Picker. And all these people were against Tommy. And their show would be about Tommy. Like I told you, 9 o'clock every night to like 6, 7, 8, most of the time 8 in the morning. And it went on like this for a few years. They would talk about Tommy every minute of every show. I ain't lying. I'm telling you the truth. And it got to the point after a few years, they was like, look, let's get away from talking about Tommy. And it still took them another year to wean Tyrone Thompson off of talking about Tommy. And then Vic Damone, he was part of the Tyrone Thompson crew. And then All Facts, I mentioned him. He used to be on some other blog talk radio show with white folks. And it was at one point where Tommy was suing Tyrone Thompson, had court papers delivered to him or whatever. Wasn't no cease and desist, although that might have been part of it, but this was a bona fide lawsuit. And All Facts went to that other blog talk radio show that he was affiliated with. And he was like, come over here because they suing each other. Because that was like the first lawsuit we've ever seen coming to fruition, you know? And thus enters Angry White Jew and Beasley. We talk about blog talk radio in relation to YouTube. Anyway, that's how, or some of how it all gelled together. Because Tyrone Thompson had a YouTube channel first before he was doing blog talk radio. And I think he still has a show on blog talk radio after all these years. I would think it's like at least 10 years. There's Big J Triple X. And then again with Tyrone Thompson enters Clifton Rainey. Oh boy. Those were the days, boy. Those were the days. So much laughter. So much humor. So much patheticism, if that's a word. And I don't even know why I went into all of that. Oh, yeah, I went off on a tangent to say that that's how much I've been consumed with this shit, that I've been missing a lot of. How would you want to do that now? Try to update. Yeah, anyway, like I was saying. I think, let me see if I do that. Okay. Let me do that. Okay. So anyway, I think this is a pivotal moment that I'm going back to TV. Pretty much. I'm developing other interests besides television also. Um, so guess what else I did? I purchased something. Um, yeah, so I made my first purchase on Temu, which is an alto saxophone. I've always wanted to play a saxophone. And, in case you don't know, saxophones are really expensive. Thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, a really good one would, well, not really a good one, a decent one, I would say, prior to me finding Timu, it would be at least $1,500 to $1,800. You could start there. And I don't know. Well, you know how this works. You ever be talking to your friend about something on the phone, or even not on the phone? Like you might be talking about, you know what? I think my washing machine is on the fritz. I might have to get a new one soon. Next thing you know, you get a lot of emails, or when you go on Facebook or somewhere, now you got ads popping up about washing machines. Well, that's what happened with the saxophone. Timu popped up with a saxophone for $216. I was like, hey, hmm. So then I started watching YouTube videos. I found the make of it's called Slade or something. So I punched that in the search of YouTube, and people were comparing this Timu saxophone to a $7,000 saxophone, to a $5,000 saxophone, to a $3,000 saxophone. Now, and most of the videos at its conclusion was like, is the cheap saxophone ain't really that bad. So I was like, I don't even know how to play a saxophone. I really don't want to spend a couple of $1,000s for an instrument that I don't even know how to play. I don't even know if, wanting to play is one thing, but being good at it is a whole nother thing. I might not really like it that much, you know? So I decided, well, I'll get this real cheap saxophone. I'm in the bed, otherwise I'd get up and turn the light on and show you. It is beautiful. It's sturdy. It's blue and gold. It is beautiful. I'm really impressed, just as impressed as people were in these videos in comparison to $7,000 saxophones. Now, if you have a good ear, if you're a professional saxophonist, you would hear a difference. But people like you and me, as far as I'm concerned, according to these videos, I couldn't tell the difference from the cheap saxophone to the $7,000 saxophone when they were, playing one and playing the other. So I'm continuing to watch videos about how to play and things like that. And I'm just not finished with the process of doing some preliminary education for myself. And the first thing I learned about a saxophone is it can give you what they call saxophone lung. That's right, you heard me. Saxophone lung. Well, what is saxophone lung, Madam MhipAss? Well, I didn't know that, playing the saxophone, moisture gets all through the instrument, from your breath and saliva or whatever. And if you don't clean it out and then you like store it in its case or something, that turns moldy and full of bacteria. Then you pick it up and play it again. and you get all that mold and bacteria in your lungs. So I had to make sure I bought the correct um, cloths and mechanisms to make sure I clean it after I use it every time, you know. So that's one of the most important things that I learned about it. That had I not watched any YouTube videos, I, I wouldn't have known. And then I'm watching a lot of videos about, what they call it, your ambrosia. What is that? Oh, the way you hold your mouth. You got to hold your mouth a certain way. You got to use your tongue a certain way and all that. I got the breathing down because, I've always learned about breathing exercises and things like that. So that's one battle. That's one for me. But, I'm learning a lot of stuff that I didn't know. So I'm going to teach myself how to play the saxophone. And I'll do a quick video when I get time and I'll show you the saxophone. It's really beautiful. And for $216, I'm just simply not mad at all. And if I like it, if I feel that I got potential, maybe another year and a half, if I feel that I'm getting good and I want to keep going with it, I already have my eye on a saxophone. It's a Yamaha, I believe. And it's like $5,400. But that's only if I like it. I hope I do. I should. I've always wanted to learn how to play. But, we'll see. And I figured if I suck at it or, I just don't feel like I'm making progress or it's too difficult for me for whatever reason, hey, it's only $216. Better than paying thousands of dollars for something you really don't want to play anymore, or you feel that, it's just not for you. And, again, if I don't like it, I can always give it to somebody else. So what about you? You ever thought about playing an instrument? Do you play any instruments? One of the easiest instruments to learn how to play is a piano. The piano is really, really easy. I don't know. And no matter how old you are, think about it. You don't have to go get a big ass piano unless you want to. But you could start with a keyboard, 88 keys, you know? Or you can start better than that. I talked about one of the videos recently that I bought an 88 key folding keyboard and I did some demonstrations with it. But you could just start there. Just find something different to do. You never know. You might be really talented at it. It's very, very easy. Just learn the notes and the keys. And I'm going as far as learning how to read music, which, I taught myself years ago, actually. So really, I'm just trying to brush up and get back to where I left off when I was in my mid-20s. But I always grew up with a piano in the house, and every family member's house I went to, everybody always had a piano. Everybody. The older generation, everybody knew how to play the piano. My generation, my siblings, well, my two older siblings were taught how to play the piano from when they were 5. Another one of my siblings, I think he was taught to, but he became a bass player. And he got that from my dad because my dad played acoustic guitar. And Oh, I'll tell you the story about that the week before last. So, told you about the saxophone, right? Now, initially, I said, well, let me learn how to play daddy's guitar. So I spent like a whole several days watching YouTube videos about playing the acoustic guitar. So was it last Saturday? I think it was a Saturday before last. Yeah. After watching a week of YouTube videos about the guitar, I go and I pull out Betsy. Oh yeah, well, my father named his guitar Betsy. So I get Betsy downstairs to my office and I play this one video that I have been watching all week. And now I'm gonna practice the finger positions and the frets and the chords and all that stuff. So I start doing it, but something's different compared to what the guy's doing in the video or what it's sounding like. And I was like, something's off. I knew it needed to be tuned up, but it was something else that was not right. So I happened to look and I noticed that Betsy is not a 6-string guitar. Betsy is a 12-string guitar. 12 strings. So now I'm like, and then I start watching YouTube videos about how to play a 12-string guitar. Well, you don't begin playing guitar on a 12-string guitar. You have to learn on a 6-string guitar. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to take it to the guitar store and have them convert it or see, even if it was possible, because I didn't know. Hello, good morning. To convert it to a 6-string guitar. So I take it there. But the guy who does guitar repairs wasn't there. But another guy, he tuned up the 12 string. He tuned up Betsy for me. And it's pure lunacy to try to learn guitar on 12-string guitar because it's different. What the difference is that you can't learn the basics of guitar on the 12 string. You learn the basics on the 6 string because there are things on the 12 string that you can't do on a 6 string and vice versa. Some shit like that. So Betsy is back in the case. But I'm going to work on the saxophone first. And also brush up on my piano. And we'll see where it goes. But I'm excited about the sax. And again, pick up an instrument. I got a lot of instruments in this house. I got 1, 2, 3 African drums. I got a couple of tambourines. What else I have? Betsy. I got this other, oh man, I don't know what it's called. But it is like a keyboard. It is a keyboard, but it's small. Oh, you know what? When I make a video, I'll show you. Because it's not called a keyboard, but it's a piano thing that my mother always had. And do you blow in it and it has piano keys? Oh, I got to take that thing out. I remember playing with it when I was little, and it's been in my closet for a couple of decades. But I'm going to take that out and show you that when I do a review on the saxophone. But you got to see the saxophone. I can't wait for you to see it. It is absolutely beautiful. For $216. I'm not mad. Church. of the diet melanin. How are you, girl? I should be sleeping. I'm acting like I don't have to be to work by 8:30. But I'm just not sleepy and it's annoying. So I'm trying to talk myself to sleep. Most of the time it works, but it ain't working now. This is some bullshit. But yeah, again, if you have an instrument, maybe, you've had one just laying around, maybe you played it when you was a kid, or maybe you haven't played in the last 4 or 5 years, pick it back up. Maybe something was bequeathed to you, whatever it is, whatever instrument it is, pick it back up, or pick it up for the first time and watch some YouTube videos and just have fun with it. I want to get um well enough on the saxophone that I can play some Christmas tunes around the holiday when friends and family come over, things like that. Or just, sit in my car and blow. I want to learn how to improvise and all of that. And I'm I've always been inspired by Maceo. Y'all know who Maceo is, right? Maceo, he played with James Brown and he also played with Prince. Maceo, I always loved the way he played the saxophone. It's such a beautiful instrument. I love the sound of it. And I want to be able to play. Anyway, yeah, when you finish cleaning, can you come over and clean my house? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Anybody else in the bushes, drop down and say hello. Chat with me for a little while, please. Please. I'm begging you to drop down in the chat and just say hello. That's all. They won't do it. Diet. They won't do it. They just want to stick in the bushes. I don't know why. But then again, diet, they might be banned and they can't type in the chat. But if you're not banned or anything, come in the chat. I ain't gonna bite you. Mm-mm-mm. Diet, did you ever watch The Walking Dead? Anybody? Am I the only one who hasn't seen this show? Because if not, please get to Netflix and start from the beginning. It's so, so good. You know, my heart still pounds every now and then, but not like in the beginning. Not the first. It was horrible. Oh, the suspense. I don't, I enjoy suspense, but this is just too intense in this show. I've never experienced such an intensive um, suspenseful show like The Walking Dead. It really was almost too much for me. But it's really good. And I said in the beginning of this video, if anybody wants me to go into detail about what goes on, spoilers or whatever, I don't mind doing that. But it's some shit to contend with, and I just can't imagine living in a world like that. And naturally, people in the movie have decided to, how they say, opt out, There are people who decide to commit suicide than to live like that. And one of the things about the show, it just gives you pause to think, like, if that shit was real, I had to ask myself, would I be like those characters who just keep going to survive? Or would I opt out? I can tell you now, there's no way I can live in a world ever present with zombies. They're always there. They're never too far away. And the only way you can kill them is if you shoot them in the head or, you know, stab them in the head. You gotta get to the brain. And there are herds of them. You can't make a lot of noise because that will attract them. And they come from the north, the east, the west, and the south. And I just can't imagine living in a world like that. I don't know how these characters in the movie keep going because I would have just opted out. Hell no. They're living in the woods. They got to scavenge for food and shit every day. And then, shit, some of the living people they come across are worse than the fucking zombies. And it gets to the point you can't trust any stranger because you don't know if they want what you got. And some people just have this attitude, survival of the fittest, and only the strong will last. And they are just behaving on subhuman levels. So, anyway, with all that being said, again, if you never watched it, please go and watch. There's some tough choices these characters have to make. Like the last episode I just watched earlier. I guess for some people it would have been a tough choice. It would have been an easy choice for me. I'd have had to kill that little bitch too. Up there acting like zombies are her friends and shit. Little girl, about 13. She feeding the zombies. They're her friends. She trying to play tag with them and shit. Ugh. She was a threat. So somebody had to take her and shoot her. Take her out. You can't keep trying to run and save your life and she playing with fucking zombies and feeding them and shit, giving them names. Anyway. I guess I'm finished talking. And maybe I can go to sleep now. What time is it? Oh my God, it's almost 4 o'clock in the morning. I gotta be to work in 4.5 hours. And I'm nowhere near sleepy. I'm sitting here thinking, is there something I can drink? If I call out, I gotta hear this man mouth. I'm not in the mood for that. Okay, I'm gonna try and roll over and go to sleep. But listen, party people, thank you all. Thank you all for tuning in and listening, even if you did stay up in the bushes. It's all good. You could have been any place else but here, listening to me babble on about The Walking Dead and musical instruments and shit. But you decide to hang out with me for a spell, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you again. Have a good night.